Tell me about being present.
That's okay. Being present, that's a huge topic, and I love it. I love
Yeah.
it because a lot of people are not as present as they can, and because they're not as present, they're not enjoying the moment. When you're present in an activity, you can be more effective in that activity. When you're present in a connection with someone else, in an interaction with someone else, you can enjoy that experience more, and you can benefit from it more. You can help the other person, help yourself. You can learn so much more by doing that. If you are watching a movie, if you are having any experience like that, and you're present, you're getting more out of that experience. And the more details you're getting out of the experience, the more you are immersed in that experience, and the more you enjoy it.
So to be present is to be what? To be still?
Well, first of all, to be present is to decide to be present. And I think one of the things I usually do is I go macro meta when it comes to focus. I don't think we talked about this before.
We haven't. No.
But when I focus on something, to guarantee focusing on it, I focus on focusing on it. Does that make sense?
Elaborate.
So, for example, the deeper you go into something, the more likely you'd be immersed in it. If you aim to ace an exam, you're guaranteed to pass it. It becomes a byproduct. If you aim to pass the exam, get a 60%, you may succeed, you may fail. But if you aim to ace it, your goal is way beyond the normal. And so you're guaranteed to pass, and you may actually ace. You guarantee passing, and you may actually ace. So if you want to learn, for example, if in any subject, there's a page, a single page that summarizes that topic. In that, and you want to master that, you want to learn that. If you learn that page only, you may forget a lot of it. But if you learn that page and go to different references and dive deeper into that page, to more pages that describe what is in that page, you're guaranteed to remember the first thing. So by me focusing on the person, the byproduct is focusing. So I might even ask myself questions. So I'm focusing on you right now as we're having this discussion. And I'm asking myself asking questions about you, about how do I want you to feel? How do I want you to think? And I'm trying to focusing on you and all the aspects of you, which guarantees that I focus on you in general. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it's that kind of thing. When I was in Japan, one of the things I loved so much about that country, the culture, the people, is their respect for inanimate objects as well as animate objects. If you're focusing, and this ties into the focus on focus, you kind of go deeper to guarantee getting what is shallower. So if you're focusing on respecting an inanimate object, a drum, a bottle, or whatever, you're more likely to be respectful of an animal. You're more likely to be respectful of a human than just focusing on humans and dismissing everything else. You're diving into respect by respecting something that normally people don't respect, and that guarantees respecting what you need to respect. So I valued that a lot in that experience with them. And I met several experts, but one of the people that I interviewed was a tea master. He spent about 5 hours together, and one of the things that caught my attention before he made tea was the way he entered the room. He would sit in front of the door, and it's a sliding door. There's an indentation on one side where you put your hand in so you can actually pull the whole door and slide it to the other side. So he would sit in front of the door, raise his right arm, extend his open fingers, extend it, place it into the indentation, and slowly slide it to the center. Let go, place the other hand, raise the other arm, and slide it all the way to the end on the other side. He didn't do that. He didn't do that. And when I asked him why, he said, there is no reason to create unnecessary physical tension. Because when you create unnecessary physical tension, you create unnecessary mental tension. That required presence. And by constantly being consciously aware of every moment in your life, by asking questions like, what's my intention, which we'll get into, you begin to be more aware of what you're doing. One of the easiest ways to be present is to slow down. When you slow down your movement, slow down your breathing,
We had this conversation.
Yes.
I was explaining to you how in the West Indies, people walk really slow. And then when you come back over to England, everybody's rushing about. And you emphasised on that. You were talking about how to be present, you must slow down. People who rush are either in the past or they're nervous or fearful or something.
First of all, I want to ask a question about that because I remember it to a degree. What was the psychology of the people that were walking slowly?
They were just happy, just in the moment, talking amongst themselves. People were holding hands. You know, there's no rush. It's hot. So,
would you say they were present?
yeah, I think in what I noticed mostly, that when you slow down, you're able to focus more on what's around you. So in the West Indies, it doesn't matter who walks past you. You say good morning, you say good night, you say good afternoon. In the UK, we're so rushed. You don't even have the time to say good morning to people. You don't even speak to people. I mean, if that's an example I could use.
It's hard to be present when you are urgent. When you have a sense of urgency, that indicates or suggests a potential threat. If you're constantly living in urgency, you're living in danger. That's what your mind is picking up. Because when you're constantly moving very quickly to get something done or get somewhere, that sense of urgency, that speed of movement suggests that there's something you're running away from or there's something you're moving towards, but it's linked to your protection. It's linked to a need for control to feel safe. So you create the illusion of danger that isn't even there. And that's why people are stressed when they practice this urgency constantly. When you slow down, you are actively telling your body that everything's okay. You're actively telling your body that I'm relaxed, I'm calm, I am safe, I'm in control, everything's fine. Once you do that, suddenly you will feel more relaxed. So when you slow down, you're suggesting safety. When you speed up, you're suggesting danger. Now, there's more that we can talk about to flesh that out, because there are times that you may want to speed up a bit. But I guess that would be a topic for another day, because this is a big topic, as you know, because we did have a similar conversation about this. But in general, when you slow down, you suggest safety. And the second thing is when you slow down, you're spending more time in what you're doing, more moments, you're being more present. If I'm moving my hand like that, okay, I can still talk to you. But if I start to slow down and be consciously aware of how fast it is and just try to do it as slowly, you see, now I try to do it even slower, it's hard for me to juggle both. Being present prevents multitasking, which is very stressful for the body, and multitasking isn't actually real. You're basically single tasking very quickly. But when you slow down, you can no longer multitask. If there's a tipping point, there's a breaking point. You slow down to the degree that nothing else can exist in that moment if you are to continue this action, but that action. Slowing down is one of the easiest and fastest ways to be present. And I previously mentioned that when you're in the present moment, you can't feel pain, emotional pain, because emotional pain lives in the past and the future. So when you slow down, when you're stressed, you become more present. Your mind comes back from the past or the future, and emotional pain cannot exist, begins to diminish. So slowing down physically is actually a great way to be present and help you manage your emotions. Doing it for 3 to 4 to 5 minutes of walking very slowly, like really, really slowly, like in slow motion, bullet time. You're just slowing down, like the Matrix. That is so powerful to suddenly help you connect with the moment, connect with yourself. And it clears your mind because you can no longer think of the past and the future because all you have is this, because you slowed it down enough for everything else to disappear. The dimensions close, the gateways to the dimensions close, and the emotions within those dimensions are blocked from you. And all you're left with is this moment. Peace. And then you can revisit an issue that you want to solve, but you're in a better state now. And that's the power of that.